Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking encyclopedia. Nadis, the subtle channels of energy through which Kundalini flows. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is a result of 60 years of integrated education. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening, and integrated knowledge is empowering. Major nadis, as I told you, the subtle aspects of channels through which energy in the body are Kundalini flows. This is something very important for anyone who want to understand Yoga Parampara and move with that to the best of your ability. Now, as far as the structure of nadis are concerned, is also very true. Physicalized human body, when sits in Padmasana, he or she would be surrounded by an aura which resembles people leaf or Ficus religiosa leaf, as you can see in the green in the picture. And I'm sure you have seen the same picture in first slide itself. Now, from this particular angle, now let's go to the second stage to say there are 72,000 nadis or subtle channels in the human body. As I told you, energy flows through this, and so does Kundalini, and also you can call Antaratma or soul consciousness. Understanding these nadis is absolutely essential, along with chakras, to make optimum use of perfect, complete human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and psychology to be in tune with universal consciousness. Anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and psychology as by the modern science, and these aspects from the ancient Indian wisdom, unless until you understand both together, it's very difficult to make optimum use of human potentials. If we are microcosmic representation of macrocosmic universe, then we got to understand both aspects. For that matter, it's not a 7 chakras, I'm talking about 10 chakras. And as far as nadis are concerned, I restrict myself to 72,000 nadis to the best of my experience. More than that, many people talk, I'm not really interested, but I would quote in quote say 72,000 nadis are absolutely on dot. There are certain major nadis which have been talked about so far. What are they? Ida Nadi, Pingla Nadi, Sushmana Nadi, Gandhari Nadi, Hasta Jiva, Kuhu Nadi, Saraswati Nadi, Pusha Nadi, Sankani Nadi, Dayavash Nadi, Varunin Nadi, Alambusha Nadi, Vishwadhara Nadi, and Yasa Swani. These are some of the major nadis which most of the ancient texts of Tantra talk about it. But as far as I'm concerned, I would restrict my external route of Baharang Yoga to only 3 nadis, Ida, Pingla and Sushmana. Maybe 1 or 2 I would show in that. But my emphasis is on internalization or internal nadis for Antar Yoga to become one with universal consciousness, whereby human beings can be really a microcosmic representative macrocosmic. To do that, my emphasis on 4 nadis, and they are Vahani Nadi, Surya Nadi, Chandra Nadi, and Brahma Nadi. These 4 nadis are located within Sushmana Nadi. So, what Sushmana, Pingala, and Ida, these 3, and then Vani, Surya, Chandra, and Brahma Nadi would be my focus to make optimum use of human nature and subtle aspect as well as gross. As I've told you, shape looks like Ficus religiosa. Is the name Ficus religiosa which is for people leaf. This leaf is by coincidence, or it has even botany experts, scientists also believe it has got a religious touch. Let's go to the. Let me first show my first experience of Nadis, which goes back to 1991, January 1st. That was the first time I was initiated into simplified Kundalini Yoga by Maharishi Vethathiri, when he kept his right thumb, between my eyebrows and asked me to concentrate there for 22 minutes. That's the time. After few minutes, I felt some movement or something in my upper abdomen, which at that moment I call it Manipura Chakra, but today I would call the spot as a Usha Chakra. And then the energy moved towards the left side and then stuck around the heart for a while and then started moving up and came to a spot called Ajna Chakra between eyebrows and stayed there. As a result, I had a headache for almost 10 days, which could not go, but after doing some healing techniques, it disappeared. So this was my first experience of chakras and nadis and Kundalini, ascension of Kundalini. Since it was my personal experience like that, so it was easy for me to correlate chakras, nadis, and Kundalini within the physical body and take Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga to Akhand Yoga of the 10 stages based on very scientific experience and scientific research methodology with the evidence which I don't think anybody can ever deny, provided they really go and do research seriously. So from this was the first awareness of chakras, nadis and Kundalini way back in 1991, 1st January, which amounts to almost like 33 years ago. Fortunately, in 1993, I also had an experience of all the three nadis, Ida, Pingala and Sushmana, and major chakras being experienced outside. Let me make it very clear, at that particular stage, I had absolutely no experience of Antar Yoga. These are all external Baharang Yoga right up to 93. But this experience with these three nadis intermixing like a collage and then feeling those chakras and then going right up to head and then going beyond was amazing. And that picture, I have produced it here. Now, from external 72,000 nadis, we have come down to the internalized Ida, Pingala, and Sushmana, and the major 10 chakras that way. But also, I've talked about Brahma Granthi in this particular thing, from Muladhara to Brahma Granthi to three things, and moved on. Let's stick to that at this particular juncture. Now, let's relate these particular nadis, as you can rightly see in this particular picture, of sympathetic nervous system. And I've been very clear, both Ida and Pingala nadis are representation of paravertebral chains, left and right. I would call left as Ida and right as a Pingala. And why left Ida and why right Pingala? Reason is left side of this particular thing connected with the nose gives you cooling experience. The right side nostril being opened, it increases the heat. That's why Ida and Pingala are closely associated with moon and sun. So that I also explained quite a lot, but let's clear that Ida and Pingala by and large represent left paravertebral sympathetic chain of 22 ganglions and the right paravertebral sympathetic chain of 2 and Muladhara 45. And since the fibers arise from 14 or 28 preganglion nerves, This ratio also represents the Deviank ratio, which has been explained quite a lot before. So from that, design is with Deviank ratio, and Ida and Pingler are nothing but sympathetic left and right chains which control almost all vital parts of the body at the same time. Sympathetic system goes right up to skin, right from head, right up to the soul. Parasympathetic system, which is restricted to vital organs within the body. So Ida and Pingla are associated with left and right paravertebral chains of the sympathetic nervous system. Now, Sushmana Nadi. Let's come to the Sushmana Nadi when you talk of internalization. Ida and Pingla I have already spoken about it. Sushmana Nadi is associated or related to vertebral column. Vertebral column is the vertebral bones which are support the head, the body, and then you have 7 cervical vertebrae from which 8 pairs of spinal nerves come. Then thoracic you have 12, lumbar you have 5, sacral you have 5, and coccyx you have 4 fused bones. So vertebral column is made of 7 plus 12 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 is always integral taken as 1. So as a result, you can say that 30 vertebrae, and they are associated with Sushmana Nadi. So I'm sure it's very clear. In right side, I have shown the organs. Now you can see the brain stem is on top of spinal cord. Below the spinal cord, then below the brain skull starts spinal cord, and you have 8 segments of cervical, 12 of thoracic, 5 of lumbar, 5 of sacral, and 1 from, you can call it coccyx. So that's also very clear. That would make it 31. So vertebral column is called Sushmana Nadi. Then within the vertebral column, you have the spinal cord. But spinal cord is supported by 2 layers. One is called dura mater, another is pia mater, which is inside. Between the dura mater and pia mater, you have subdural space, which contains cerebrospinal fluid, and I would say subdural space containing CSF is Vahani Nadi. Vertebral column is a Sushmana. Subdural space between dura mater and pia mater, which contains fluids, cerebrospinal fluid, is a Vahani Nadi, through which Ojas converts into Tejas and moves from down to the entire brain. It covers the entire brain as well as spinal cord. So that is Vahani Nadi. When internalization first will be into the Vahani Nadi, and to give you a different glow which resembles like a mace of Lord Hanuman. Then within the dura mater, parameter, then you have sensory nerve, as you can see. You can see the dorsal root ganglion, and you can see spinal cord. But when it comes to the cross section of the spinal cord, I have shown very clearly, you have gray matter in the center, and right in the center is central canal of the spinal cord, and you also have a white matter. Now, these 3 components, let's relate it with the nadis. White matter of spinal cord is called Surya Nadi, and it means ascending tracts of the sensory system as well as descending tracts of the motor system. They form white matter, and they represent Surya. Because this white matter it is given the name Suryan bright. The gray matter of the spinal cord, which consists of nuclei, nerve cells, which are darker in color, are called Chandra Nadi because moon is not as bright as the sun. So I think that way calling white matter as Suryan and gray matter as Chandran is not far from the truth. are the real correlation with the heavenly body. Right in the center, you can see central canal of the spinal cord, and that is called Brahma Nadi. So from the Nadis point of view, let's say Ida and Pingla are two outside. Let's forget about rest of thing. Within that is a Sushmana. Within Sushmana is Vahani. Within Vahani is Suryan. Within Suryan is Chandran. And within that is Brahma Nadi, and to which Atma or Kundalini should finally go for Antaryog. In this particular picture, the knowledge of Sat Chakra Nirupana as well as Taittiriya Upanishads coming very close to this, how beautifully the ancient sages were so clear about detailed neuroanatomy of the nervous system and gross anatomy of the skeleton system, and then show and relate it with the subtle channels or nadis. So from that angle, I can only say these subtle nadis are not in Suksham Sharira outside in the astral plane, which everybody else is. They are very closely related with the nervous tissue as well as blood supply to the nervous tissue. So let us make it clear. All these nadis are very closely related to nerves, nerve tissues, as well as blood vessels through which things and which the flow of the water. So I think from that I've been able to explain how these nadis are so closely related with the physical body and how 10 chakras are connected with the 10 endocrine systems, autonomic ganglia, and of course I have also spoken about this relationship with 10 heavenly bodies of solar system, and now with the nervous system also I am able to relate. So I think that ancient Indian wisdom in the light of modern sciences, that bridging I think has been a great pleasure for me to show this evidence. Now let's go to the next one. This is a picture I have been using from day one. Now you can see in this particular, in the center, the gray snake twining around from Muladhar Chakra right up to the nostrils or forehead, Ajna Chakra, or little more than that, maybe to hypothalamus, or even to say superior part or central autonomic nervous system or network. The gray is left side, you can see, is called Ida, and the brighter one is Pingala. And both are left and right chains. And I think now what is done in medical symbol and staff of Hermes, also ancient Western symbol as well as Indian symbol is coming closer and showing they were aware of grey could be Ida, white pinkish could be Pingala, and they could also be related to white matter as well as grey matter. But I would say Ida and Pingala are two chains of paravertebral sympathetic system. Right in the middle, you can see two green lights. They represent vertebral column or Sushmana Nadi. Within that, you can see the white on top and down, which is called Vahani Nadi, and it is also surrounded by Suryan and Chandran Nadi. And then you can see the 10 centers of consciousness, 10 chakras, Ida, Pingala, Sushmana, Vahani, Chandran, Suryan, and Brahmanadi, and then moving the same Kundalini going and then reaching up to the ventricles of the brain. And this is the 10th stage of Antaryog, which I call Akhand Yog's last part. As a result, you can experience integration of the entire nervous system. As a result, the outer three layers, the neocortex, can be completely activated. They can act as an antenna to the higher consciousness, be in tune with Akash-Kosh, and all the wisdom of the past, present, and future, which is recorded there. You can get better information, data, knowledge, wisdom from there than you can get from any other source of data, information, knowledge, and wisdom available on the earth. This is how I have been able to get this from. Then, in the light of modern sciences, with my complete understanding of human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and psychology, and then showing that ancient Indian wisdom has made my understanding of anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry much better as a result, bridging both, and I can make optimum use of my potentials much better. From that, I think, and now the understanding of chakras, tantra, kundalini, nadis, and yoga, I think we have come very close. This is one, if you can achieve it, then you can be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, happy, in tune with universal consciousness. As a result, you can lead to the consciousness of world peace and create a knowledge which is totally impeccable wisdom, which doesn't have to be unlearned and relearned. This is the prime objective of Akhand Vidyashram, and I think all this is now becoming much more subtler and much more clearer with the help of Divyank on one side and its symbolic representation to show that this is what all about. So thank you very much for everything. I think it's been wonderful that way. Thank you.